Boxing Doc. Boxing family. Alright, so misconception number 3, puncher versus the boxer. Now, this is an oversimplistic characterization of the dynamic of this fight. I get it though. We're trying to, when you put a label over something, it's really just a generalization. But I think to just stop there is where we do ourselves a disservice, because we don't, when the outcome of the fight presents as it does, we tend not to understand the nuances and the subtleties that led to that particular conclusion, because we've just understood the fight from a general standpoint, puncher versus the boxer. It's much more than that. Kovalev is not just a puncher, and Ward is not a pure boxer. There's a lot more to it, so I'm going to get into it right now. From the start of the fight, we saw Kovalev executing a beautiful jab, and he always executes this beautiful jab in all of his fights, right? If you want to, and if you go to a boxing gym and you want to enroll in boxing, you will hear a lot of the coaches say, extend that arm fully out, keep your opponent on the end of your punches, don't cut your power short by half punching, right, or having the arm bent. Make sure that arm is fully extended, and make sure you maximize the distance between you and your opponents. These are all boxing fundamentals, and you see this in Kovalev's technique. Superior technique, having his opponents on the end of his punches, and that's where most of the power is generated from, although there's other things that we can look at as well. And to be honest with you, I don't know what those other things are, but I know that one of them is that he keeps his opponents on the end of his punches, so they're feeling the full brunt of that power, right? And so yeah, like I was saying, Kovalev was executing a beautiful jab, a hallmark characteristic of a boxer, not just a puncher. Jabbing to the stomach, excellent control of range and distance, right? Like I said, keeping your opponents on the end of your punches, taking a half step back just to maintain that distance. Execution of the 1-2-1. You saw that combination backing up Ward a lot. And you also saw Kovalev making adjustments. For example, when Ward decided to, put that jab to the pit of Kovalev's stomach, he started to pick up on that, and when he saw that Ward was doing this, eventually he was able to gain timing on it and throw a downhill right hand every time Ward tried to jab to the stomach. Punchers don't tend to make these adjustments. They don't tend to pick up on these characteristics. They're just focused on trying to land their power. But Kovalev was able to pick up on it and make an adjustment. If you're going to jab to my stomach, I'm going to deter you from doing that by throwing a downhill right hand. And he caught Ward on numerous occasions with that downhill right hand. You saw Kovalev employing his own tactics, as I mentioned in the previous video. Grabbing Ward whenever Ward wanted to fight on the inside. He'd either bear hug him and lock him by locking both arms, pushing him over to the ropes, quelling any inside action that was going to take place, or he'd headlock him so that Ward couldn't use his head to gain inside position. Again, another hallmark characteristic of a boxer, being able to make adjustments. When Kovalev was no longer able to land the jab as frequently as he was able to in the first 2, 3, 4 rounds, you saw Kovalev adjust, or try to adjust, by, especially in the 7th round, it was a beautiful jab. He switched into the southpaw stance, which threw Ward off. It's something that he hadn't seen before. He switched to the southpaw stance and then came back to the orthodox stance, and as he was coming back to the orthodox stance, he shot out a beautiful left jab, caught Ward off guard, completely swiveled Ward's head, and it was something that Ward did not see coming. He was able to evade the normal presentation of Kovalev's jab, but when Kovalev switched it up and made that adjustment and went southpaw first before switching to the orthodox stance to fire that jab, it caught Ward completely off guard and hit him flush. Of course, Ward is great at what he does, and so Kovalev tried that again, and the second time didn't work. It was unsuccessful. So yeah, Kovalev is not just a puncher. Again, it's an oversimplification. If casual fans want to learn about the sport, it's a great way to let them know the two contrasting styles, but it's not the end-all be-all for this particular fight. There's a lot more complexity to it. And the same thing, Ward's not just a pure boxer. Ward does a lot of different things. And the reason why I feel like Ward's unbeatable is because, as he said it before, he is what he has to be. He doesn't have a particular style. He does what he has to do to win. When there's a will, there is a way, and that's the mantra that Ward uses. So if he's going to be a boxer from the outside, which is what was the case in the first fight, during the first 4 rounds especially, Ward's going to make sure he comes in on the inside, or he's going to find a way to fight in the mid distance. If Ward is being out-muscled, he's going to bring it back to the outside or to the mid distance. He just finds a way to win. There isn't one particular style, and so he's not just a pure boxer, but he's an all-terrain fighter. So yeah. And the reason why I want to clear this misconception up is, after the first fight, people were shocked. They were like, "Oh, Ward is slipping. Ward isn't the same. Ward got outboxed." Listen, he's facing a number 2 pound for pound fighter in the world in Kovalev, right? A number 2 pound for pound fighter. We knew going into this fight that it was going to be a 50-50 fight. Why is the outcome surprising us? Why is a closely contested fight surprising us? It shouldn't. This is the skill level of Kovalev. He's not just a puncher. He's a high IQ boxer. It's the reason why he destroys a lot of his opponents, because not only is he powerful, he knows how to land that power, right? Take David Lemieux Golovkin, for example. David Lemieux is a very powerful puncher, right? Rivals Gennady Golovkin, maybe even has more punching power. But all that punching power was rendered futile, useless against Golovkin, because Golovkin was the superior boxer, right? He knew how to land his power, and he knew how to take away David Lemieux's power using boxing fundamentals and boxing skill. It's the same thing here with Kovalev. Well schooled, great boxing skill, and that's the reason why he gave Andre Ward a very tough fight. It's crazy how it's surprising to many of you. That's crazy to me, because we knew going to the fight that it was going to be a 50-50 fight. After the results of the fight, which would validate our assumption that it was going to be a 50-50 fight, we're surprised. Doesn't make sense at all. But yeah, I'm going to cut this video short. Puncher versus boxer just doesn't do the dynamic of this fight justice. There's a lot more to it, a lot more complexity. Stay tuned for more misconceptions about the first fight. Again, don't forget to subscribe. It's the Boxing Doc, signing off.